The DARE program began in 1983 in Los Angeles and was the brainchild of the then police chief Daryl Gates. In the past few years, DARE has expanded its focus to include 7th and ninth graders and such topics as alcohol and cigarettes, prescription and over-the-counter drug abuse, online safety, and gangs. Instructors of the DARE curriculum are local police officers who must undergo 80 hours of special training in areas such as child development, classroom management, teaching techniques, and communication skills. The elementary school DARE curriculum is currently being revised along the lines of a new program for 7th and 8th graders known as Keeping It Real. DARE America is funded largely as a crime prevention program working through education within schools. It receives funding from the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Defense, and the U.S. Department of State, including other organizations. Because DARE is the most widely used school-based substance abuse prevention program in the United States and is also used in many other countries, its effectiveness has been extensively studied. The results are mixed.
By teachers, DARE is seen as an integral part of students' education to apply in real life. This is a generalization, however, this seemed to be the most popular view. Parents remember DARE as a useful tool to spread awareness on drug abuse. Parents that we interviewed appreciate the concept of DARE and what it is trying to do, but acknowledge how difficult it is to connect to teens on such difficult topics. It is remembered by parents for its concept, not for its success.
By students, we find that it is seen as a failed program that seems to have a plethora of t-shirts with a line on it. Younger students seem to take DARE more seriously, but this is counterproductive because drugs aren't as relevant at this time in their lives. The way that we learn at this age is to accept what you are told. This could play a role in how young people remember DARE in a positive way, despite the evidence it's a failure.
As students get older, when the program is supposed to become relevant, students take DARE less and less seriously. DARE t-shirts and DARE apparel are worn for satire by students to show this attitude. Older students seem to remember DARE in a negative and satirical light. The normalization of drug culture today in the community influences the way these students remember DARE because it makes it seem cool to make fun of it. Things such as the legalization of marijuana and the presence of drugs in pop culture undermine DARE and change the way people remember it. Popular icons using drugs and flaunting it makes people remember DARE in this way where it was undermined.
Is DARE effective?
Personally, I don't think it's effective because most of the times kids don't listen to what they have to say, and their middle school or elementary school teacher told them about DARE. So no.
So do you think kids take it seriously?
No, I do not.
Okay. What comes to mind when I mention DARE?
Officer Scott coming into my 5th grade class with the drunk goggles and me walking, trying to walk on a straight line, which just looked crooked. And I had no clue what I was doing.
Okay. So what do you think DARE's goal is to accomplish? What do they want to do?
They want 5th graders to not do drugs, which is pretty stupid because no one's thinking about that in 5th grade.
So would you say it's not effective, the program?
Not effective at all.
Thank you.
Wait. Do you think high school students take DARE seriously?
Absolutely not.
Okay. The DARE program has received some positive evaluations. A 2002 study of 5th and 6th graders in Nashville, Tennessee, found that DARE was highly effective in preventing smoking among elementary school-aged children, with students who completed DARE being 5 times less likely to smoke than those who did not. The 2004 evaluation of the side effects of DARE on 57 New Hampshire offenders referred by probation officers found the program to be, quote, an effective intervention to help improve anger management and social skills. The report also noted that the participants still reflect youth in need of treatment and further aftercare. A 2007 paper on the use of DARE in Canadian schools concludes, among other things, that DARE 1 appears to be as effective as other programs in impacting knowledge, basic skills, and attitudes, 2 positively affects the tone of classes in schools, and 3 increases students' confidence, positive feelings towards police, respect for laws, and consideration of the consequences of making decisions. Lastly, a 2008 evaluation of the DARE prescription and over-the-counter curriculum based on more than 750 5th, 7th, and 9th graders in 7 Maryland and West Virginia schools found significant improvements using various outcome measures, including in students' 1. Ability to distinguish between prescription and other over-the-counter medicines, 2. Beliefs that it is risky to share prescription drugs and harmful to abuse over-the-counter drugs.
Yet many evaluations of the core DARE program found it to be ineffective. The findings of approximately 30 evaluations, as reflected in several articles and reports, may be summarized as follows. 1. The program has some immediate positive effects on students' knowledge of drugs, attitudes about drugs, social skills, and attitudes towards the police. 2. These effects dissipate within 1 to 2 years of students' participation in the program. 3. The program's effects on drug use is either small or unidentifiable, and, when identified, dissipate quickly. These studies found that DARE did not prevent drug use in the short term or long term, and students who participated in the program were indistinguishable from those who did not. Based on these disappointing evaluations, the DARE program was listed as ineffective in Youth Violence, a report of the U.S. Surgeon General, published in 2001 by the Office of the U.S. Surgeon General. That report cited DARE as one school-based universal prevention program that meets the criteria but does not work. The report stated that although DARE receives substantial support from parents, teachers, police, and government funding agencies, numerous well-designed evaluations and meta-analyses consistently showed little or no deterrent effects on substance abuse.
In conclusion, we found that people remember DARE and its effectiveness in a way where the negative evaluations outweigh the positive evaluations.
People tend to believe DARE was implemented as a result of Reagan's war on drugs. People tend to remember this as being morally motivated because of the way we have learned history from the pro-American perspective. Students from this area remember history in a way that makes America seem righteous. However, Reagan's war on drugs and the anti-drug stigma that led to the start of DARE was actually more complicated than this.
The anti-drug sentiment could be traced back to political motives with President Nixon. In the 1960s, as drugs became symbols of youthful rebellion, social upheaval, and political dissent, the government halted scientific research to evaluate their medical safety and efficacy. In June 1971, President Nixon declared a war on drugs. He dramatically increased the size and presence of federal drug control agencies and pushed through measures such as mandatory sentencing and no-knock warrants. Nixon temporarily placed marijuana in Schedule I, the most restrictive category of drugs, pending review by a commission he appointed led by Republican Pennsylvania Governor Raymond Schaefer. In 1972, the commission unanimously recommended decriminalizing the possession and distribution of marijuana for personal use. Nixon ignored the report and rejected its recommendations.
Nixon hated the hippie movement due to their power in spreading anti-war propaganda. He then used drugs to attack them and contain them. This, war on drugs, was motivated much by politics as a way to hush his opposers. Also, he used the war on drugs to attack minority races who opposed him politically. Nixon essentially used his war on drugs, because of his popular platform, to put his face on what showed morals.
A quote from Bryn Mawr EDU on the topic states, "Nixon stood to benefit politically by being the face of an administration that took a hard stance on drugs and brought back the American morality that so many had begun to deem bankrupt in the wake of civil unrest in the late 1960s.
When DARE was first implemented in our community in 2001, according to police reports, people welcomed it and were very optimistic about it. This was the first program that took a proactive approach to curb drug abuse in kids. We found that people appreciated success in spreading awareness and getting the word out on drug abuse. At the time, drug use was an issue in the community and at the high school. Parents agreed that it was too late to reach these teens, and that it made more sense to get the kids educated at a young age in middle school. However, later findings suggested that these young students later forgot what they had learned.
The mark of remembrance for DARE in our community today is the presence of a DARE program led by police officers in every public middle school of the Quad District. This is interesting that the program is kept despite the evidence of its ineffectiveness. Possibly it is because of tradition, or maybe because we haven't thought of a better option yet. Our research suggests that people, in conclusion, remember DARE in a negative way, but still continue to support it in our community.